Hello, my name is Susan Kraft, and this is Talk Art, a program sponsored by Silicon Valley Open Studios. Every year, during the first 3 weekends in May, more than 400 Silicon Valley artists open their studios to the public. This free event lets you discover some exciting new artistic talent or get up close and personal with some of your favorite artists. You can find out more about Open Studios by going to their website, svos.org. Today, we're going to talk with Jill Andre. She's a local artist who is widely collected in the greater San Francisco Bay Area. Jill and I will spend some time today reminiscing about visiting China. We were part of the Chinese Art Exchange program at the Chaoyang Culture Museum. We're also going to look at a couple of videos of the grand opening of the Art 21 Gallery, and more importantly, some highlights and bloopers from Talk Art over the last 4 years. Jill, we're going to have a good time today. Thank you so much for coming. And Priscilla, thank you for that information.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was awesome. I'm really excited about this conference in February, the WCA conference, National WCA conference in February in New York City.
Will you tell us more later?
Yes, I'd be happy to share more information.
Oh, good. Very good. Well, first we're going to have a tape that is a montage from the grand opening of Art 21. So it's about 5-6 minutes long, and there's a soundtrack, but we can talk when it comes up. If you see something you want to comment on, you're more than welcome to. Hey, Marty, can you roll that tape? Well, we have another video, and this one's going to be the best of talk art. So can you cue up that video and roll it for us, please? Really? Open studios? When is it? It's the first 3 weekends of May. Are you going to go this year? Of course I'm going to go. I go every year. Can I go with you, my very best friend? What? No. Don't look at me. Well, why can't I go with you? Because my car is not big enough. But you have a really big car. I've been in it. I've seen it. Well, it's not big enough for all the art I'm going to buy, and for you too. I'm sorry. Okay, well, where do you find all the artists? You find all the artists in the map guides. Where are the map guides? The map guides are in all the public art spaces, like the art stores and the library and other places that have abilities to have art spaces. It's everywhere. In Palo Alto and all the companies, and I am so sorry. I'm switching my voices back and forth, and you want me to keep going? I'm not going to keep going.
Take it back to who? Take it back to who?
Museums need money. What better way to raise money than to have a party?
Bring people in and get them involved.
That's
and with
right.
Fun and good.
You asked me earlier what one of my favorite events is, and it's
Yeah.
the Blues Bash that we have every fall. We have bands that come and play all afternoon into the evening. We have a barbecue that accompanies it, and
Take a look at this. You've got two signs in the back against the blue, and somebody with a big TV will be able to see this. I think it must be one of your supporters.
yes, I believe that's Hathaway Dinwiddie, who
There,
is
that's
one
right.
of the sponsors of the
Here,
event.
Hathaway
Dinwiddie.
Dinwiddie, okay.
Was one of the sponsors of the event. And then the large picture is an image that was created of, I believe, B.B. King.
when he was young,
Yeah.
obviously.
We couldn't get the real B.B.
Now you've
so-
got Blues Bash and Faux Q. Faux Q. So Faux Q, huh? What is the Faux Q?
Well, we had a little discussion about the quality of our barbecue.
Yes, we did.
And I think we came to an agreement that hamburgers and chicken with barbecue sauce
Kraft
isn't what
barbecue
you and
sauce.
I actually think of as quality barbecue.
Down home, deep in the pit, long, slow roasted
Yeah.
barbecue. Yeah, so it's
I
Faux
don't.
Q.
I don't take credit
sorry,
for
faux
the.
Q.
I don't take credit for the faux Q title, although I do sense a new slogan for our event.
Yes.
Came and realized that with a little scratching and just a little.
A lot of that kind of subject matter then and questions that are being asked today. And I think you look back 40 or 50 years ago to the 1960s, and who would say that pop art by Rauschenberg and some of those people at that period of time would be viewed as art today? You could go through not only Rauschenberg, but Jasper Johns and Robert Indiana, and of course Andy Warhol. They've certainly manufactured their own culture and their own pop art era, and their work is now bringing millions.
Just like many people back then, some of that work is being devalued. I believe that Andy Warhol's work is not art. It's advertising. He took popular things already. Campbell's Soup Can, Marilyn Monroe. He took advertising.
Common everyday subjects.
Right.
Presented in an interesting and artistic fashion.
Artistic? You think that's artistic?
Absolutely.
I don't believe it.
In fact,
Well, artists always want to know how to get into a museum or any other museum. One of the big fallacies of applying to a museum is that artists believe they can send in a packet of slides, the curator will somehow open that packet of slides, pop those images into a projector, be so overwhelmed that they'll just get a solo show. I have seen maybe a handful of artists be selected for group shows from packets of slides.
You know, it's a relationship you're building with any sort of institution that you want to work with. And maybe you don't even want to work with that institution. Maybe it's not the kind of art that would go with what you're doing, or what they do doesn't fit your personality type.
But keep us apprised of what's going on in your career. Now that kind of leads into, we have a portfolio review. Want to know from me how best to make their work familiar with the Triton Museum? I tell them, come to the museum. We have
This fellow is going to New York in February for National WCA. Part portion of the show. I love that one. Yeah, Priscilla, it's yours.
Not to be missed is WCA's Lifetime Achievement Awards, given each year to women artists who represent the full range of distinguished achievement in the visual arts professions. We will be honoring Beverly Buchanan, Diane Burko, Ophelia Garcia, Joan Martyr, Carolee Schneeman, and Sylvia Slay. WCA will also honor Maria Torres and Maya Lin with the President's Art and Activism Award. After the honors ceremony, we will host a gala event at the American Folk Art Museum. You don't want to miss this amazing conference. And it's also a great time to join Women's Caucus for Art. Go to www.nationalwca.org to find a chapter nearest you. Now is the best time to join, because if you join between October and December, your membership extends through December 31st of the next year. Information about LiveSpace will be available at www.nationalwca.org beginning October 15th. So sign up and be part of LiveSpace.
Oh, fantastic. I'm definitely going. There's just way too many things I cannot miss. Cannot miss.
Yes, you can't miss them.
Okay, so
I'll be there.
We'll room together at the Hilton. Great prices, too. I mean, we really rock bottom price for a wonderful hotel like that, because it's near the conference
It's right
activities.
at the conference, most of it. Yes.
Yeah, and
Can't be
CAA's.
better than
Okay,
that.
great. Okay. Well, we have we have a couple more things to talk about. The next thing we're going to look at is, we don't have a video, but we have some shots, some photo shots of our work and our experience going to China, to Beijing, at the Chaoyang Culture Museum, which is in the third ring. If anybody knows, China is the third ring. Let's bring up, we'll bring up a couple pieces, then we'll start talking
We'll talk
about
about
it.
those.
So Marty, can you bring up the first of that? Now that is our postcard that you designed. Jim. My painting's on the left, and your painting's on the right.
Detail on the right, and this is called Crossing Oceans and Opening Doors. And Susan and I were invited to share our artwork at the Cultural Museum in Beijing, and
The year before the,
it was 2005.
right, it was the year before the Olympics.
Yes.
So we got to see the dome being built.
Construction everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. They're very excited. Okay, so
Do you want to? We both work very large in our paintings, and so actually getting the paintings to China was one of the biggest jobs I think that we've done as far as moving paintings around. If you cue the next slide, we can look at that's our luggage that we are taking to China. Come to find out, you can't just ship things FedEx. And so we carefully measured and calculated the best possible sizes. I think between us we had about
42 pieces. Of
42 pieces of art, one of
15 boxes.
15 boxes. And here's a trick: if you're ever traveling and you have to pay for each package, you have to wrap them
Bundle
all
them.
together in a bundle.
Yeah. So we did
There's
what,
with-
three and four boxes per bundle, and that's
Yes.
what that green. Oops.
Yeah,
that's
we're
right.
on to our
That's right.
next slide.
Okay, so now this. Anyway, so that was really great. It was United, and we carried it as personal luggage rather than shipping freight, which was 10 times more expensive, literally. So this is a poster they made for us, and there's our artwork. Our artwork is almost real size. You can see behind us. My piece is behind Jill's head, and her piece is to her
The
above
figure
her elbow.
in the white.
And at the very top, you can see crossing oceans, opening doors.
Opening the door. The translations
Okay,
tend to change.
And those are the steps that lead up to the massive building that it was incredible. It had everything. It was just amazing.
It was so much larger than we realized.
Oh.
They showed art. Here we are meeting a well-renowned artist of Beijing, and he is known for both his graphic design but also his traditional art, and he is presenting to me one of his paintings.
And he was so cool. You know, in all the artists in China, you could see, oh, that's an artist. Just like here, you see somebody walking around, oh, that's an artist. They had the same sort of feel and just
Experimental and not by the book.
Yeah.
That certainly
Yeah.
wasn't the case.
yeah. Oh, and here we are. We call this our Glam Shot. And we actually in the gallery where our paintings were hanging, you can see there's Jill's the same painting with the black top and the white skirt over my right shoulder, over my left shoulder. And we're looking at some of the, hold this for a little while, Marty. We're looking at some of the material that the artists gave us. Now, this is very unusual. This was during our art show. We had a line of artists to meet us and greet us. And I had these titles like executive director and gallery director, and people were very impressed with those titles, and also very impressed that we were artists. They hold artists in much, much higher degree than they do an engineer or even a scientist. So here we were traveling, and we brought all this stuff, and we had a receiving line of about, I don't know, 50 or 60 artists, and they wanted to show us their artwork. They were not interested in talking with us about our artwork so much as us viewing theirs, because it was an honor.
That was the exchange.
Yeah, it was part of the exchange,
Yes.
but it was an honor for them to have us look at their artwork and give them impressions. So this is some of the stuff they gave us, that really, really highly well-developed artwork materials. Okay, here's another. Now this is in the museum, another part near the director's office. He was very proud of his old TV collection.
Well, during the time period of these televisions, they would have been extremely expensive and very rare, and you would have had to have been somebody of great importance to have one of these little
Right.
TVs. And so they're shown alongside the traditional puppets and marionettes of China.
Of that era, yeah.
So they were valued as cultural icons.
Yeah. Now this we call the Bluefish Restaurant, and it was the restaurant in the Chaoyang Cultural Center, and it was attached to our hotel, and we had some very fun experiences there, which I won't talk about here, but it was unusual. It looked static, but the fish actually would light up into 3 different levels of lighting, and then it would go back down again like a bullseye. It
Looked like it was moving, and
Yeah.
of course they prepared fish that had been live just moments before. It was the freshest fish we've
like
ever
a
had.
500-gallon tank inside
Yes.
that restaurant. Okay. Well, that's us. Is that it? Is that all we had?
And I think briefly we just wanted to talk about how our lives, the things that we do, the trip to China, what did that do for us? And I brought an example of one of my paintings here that I think that you can see was influenced by the shapes and colors of our trip to China. You can see the neon of the blue fish, and rather than paint specifically a scene of China, this is more about a feeling of China and the mystery and the brightness and everything. Just
The little shops with the shadows.
little shops that maybe were small and so mundane to them were just beautiful in their own way. The colors of things were extraordinary. When we arrived, I think it was their Chinese New Year, and they had big red.
It was Golden Week.
Golden Week, that's right. That's their actual, like their Christmas.
It was, it was in October, yeah. It was like Christmas. There was potted flowers, yellow flowers all up and down the streets.
And the big red lanterns everywhere.
Yeah, it was rather sad when they put it all away the next week.
Well, we didn't know why no one was in town. They were all gone.
It was all gone, yeah.
Gone to their villages, yes.
It was very interesting. They had public films outside of our hotel, and people would just come and crowd and sit on these old tables and cross-legged and watch these old films, silent black and white films. It's very unusual.
Well, we wouldn't have understood anyway, so.
That's true. Yeah, it was quite amazing. We studied language. We studied Chinese when we went there. We had flip cards so we could communicate. And but what was really most enlightening for me was to find out how highly motivated they were in the fine arts, and that they held artwork to be at the highest precipice of everything. And in fact, our final day there, we were at a lunch with the great director of the entire Chaoyang Cultural Center, the hotel, the Bluefish Restaurant, the big museum we were in, and he had a translator with us. And the translator hung his head down and said, "You know, I wanted to be an artist, but I couldn't cut it." And he said, I had to be an engineer. And I thought, wow, what a flip over from where I'm coming from, Silicon Valley. And they didn't want to hear about any rich people that bought our art. They didn't want to hear it. That was very distasteful. They didn't want to know anything about business people that bought art. It had to be, it was more like they wanted to know about what famous poet or what famous artist collected our artwork, or what cultural
it was an
circles we ran
honor
in.
to be able to be a part of a culture of making art. It was something very special to them, and I think we brought that back with us.
Absolutely.
It's an honor to be able to be an artist.
It did. It really helped. It definitely expanded who we were, and it also expanded that. The director chose all of my paintings I had. I had a lot of abstractions and some symbolic and some figurative a little bit, but what he liked the best and what he kept was a single tree backlit in a very barren field, and the background was rather abstracted. But for him, it was a big stretch because it was an abstracted tree, whereas they will spend years just learning how to paint bamboo over and over and over again, and they could tell the variations, like a fine wine connoisseur would be able to tell the differences. So anyway, it was a wonderful trip, and I will always remember that, and I'm so glad that I went with you.
That was a good time.
Okay, well, it looks like we're at the end of our show. We just have a little bit left, about another couple of 30 seconds left. We have some of your artwork, but we didn't get to bring the pictures up. We did talk about this piece. And is there anything else either of you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Can you tell us a little bit about WCA briefly?
Sure. WCA is a national organization for women artists and art historians. And we also have local chapters. In California, there are, I believe, 6 chapters that are located from Northern California all the way down to San Diego. Over this year actually, many of the chapters in California came together to do a regional conference on eco-art, which was very successful and attracted a lot of the national WCA board members to come to the event in June. National WCA really is a clearinghouse for the very numerous chapters located throughout the United States. And I think we wanted to continue to push our mission of art and activism and creating a community for women artists.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh,
thank you
good.
very much, Priscilla. And thank you very much for coming and
Welcome.
sharing the information. And you too. And cheers, folks.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers for art
Yay.
forever. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you all for coming. And
See you in New York.
See you in New York,
fun.
February
That's right.
14th. 10th. Cheers. Cheers.